Hey, if this nigga Tails got a house and Sonic don't got a house, he's shitting on that nigga. Damn, that's tough.
Tails got 2 different distinct places where that nigga house can be located.
Oh, good. Named. Actually got a street and an address.
Emerald Town and the distant ruins.
This nigga just sleeping on low screens, nigga. Let me get my nap in real quick. Oh, shit. How you just pull the couch out your ass?
Like Mario, then there might be like that. Like, why is Bowser racing with y'all? For fun.
Oh, good. The fuck all the bullshit, nigga.
Like the ops pulled up for the race. Bring bullying back.
Bring bullying back is crazy.
This is a certified hood classic.
Every birthday before you blow out your candles, what you wish for. In your hood rat. Like on me.
So let me go here so we can get a little video for some content for my YouTube. What is something y'all always wanted to learn something about? Like learn more about? The lure of a movie or a franchise or a cartoon. Give me a franchise that y'all wanted to learn something about.
Learn more about?
Yeah, let's go on a little deep dive. Like not your traditional, I don't want no Marvel or DC bullshit. Let's try to find something like Kick-Ass or, you know what I'm saying? Go deep into some shit that was like iconic to you. Like we was talking about Ned's Declassified a lot. Like maybe a deep dive on Ned's Declassified or something like that. What's some shit that y'all really wanted to know some more about, or how it came to be, or what's behind the scenes type shit?
I gotta think of something that's really good. I thought about one, but then I was like, I don't really care that much because I could really do it if I wanted to. My first initial thought was Star Wars, but I don't care. Like after the 6 movies, I don't really care though.
Mm-hmm.
You got one already, or you got one already? Or
Nah. I've been trying to think of something, but I didn't really like. I'm gonna have to do redives on a lot of shit that I wanna, cause like the Mortal Kombat one, I know I gotta rewatch that again. But I've seen the lure on Mortal Kombat. It's pretty interesting. I want to wait until somebody makes a new video after this new one comes out, so I can see like how all of that fits together. But
I wish what's name lore made fucking sense.
What?
Kingdom Hearts. That shit's all over the fucking place.
Nah, yeah, you probably have to watch like an hour-long video for that.
I watch it like a 10 hour. I don't know. To be honest, it's one of those videos on there as long as this bitch. I watched it. And I get it a little bit, but it's still just...
Yeah, nah, it's all over the place.
It's all over the fucking place.
Because 3 is really supposed to be after all, like, the DS games.
Yeah, bro, you gotta play 1 and 2, or there's a whole bunch of games even just between 1 and 2, which are the DS games. And they finally put it on They finally put it on PlayStation now, so you can't play them.
All of them?
Yeah. No, I don't think. I think it might be missing a few to be honest. There's a few like you got like at least 2 on there that you can play. They just came out for like the remix. I think though something that Final Fantasy, every game is different.
No lore to it.
No lore. I mean, their world has the same shit in it, but it's so some games have like maybe 1.
No old cartoons that y'all wanted to know more about, or maybe get the breakdown on a sitcom that y'all maybe thought might have had something more to it. Like I know they said not Family Guy, but Fresh Prince was supposed to be him dead, and then he was visiting all his dead residents before he left to go to heaven type shit.
That was supposed to be the last episode?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
What?
They didn't do that.
No, I'm saying like that's like the underlying thing. Like it's more like a conspiracy type shit, but like basically like they wrote it so that all of that shit fits, but without telling you. So it's like, nah, they know it wasn't gonna show him walking up the gates to heaven or nothing, but he's dead the whole time he's at his auntie's house. Like when he got knocked out by the goon from the city, he died. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn, they shot it.
So his auntie house is just like the halfway between heaven and hell, and then at the end of the whole shit, he's finally going to heaven or whatever.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. You gotta think about it though. It's a situation where a nigga is learning all his life lessons before he leaves. Like, that's how sitcom writers be thinking. You know what I'm saying? They gotta have a little something to base it off of, because they still want to write a great story. You feel me?
I wish I got more into the world of Sonic. I love Sonic the Hedgehog, but and they like got comics and shit and all different types of lore and shit.
Sonic wouldn't be bad to learn more about.
Just to see like the difference and like how they go about it. They got so many different ways, but I want to think though like I guess the comic canyons, I guess. That's usually where. That's one maybe. I don't know if it'd be as entertaining though.
You what it's talking about?
I said, let him have it back.
Day by day, I think one of the hardest things to do is talk about the mainline Sonic the Hedgehog canon. What is canon? What isn't canon? How do we know? And where is everything placed in the Sonic the Hedgehog timeline? Is Sonic Sonic, or are there many different versions of Sonic? Is the Sonic we see in the games still the same thing we see in the movies and the TV shows? There's so many questions. Over a year ago, the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter tweeted everything is canon, and I think this set the entire Sonic fandom ablaze. Is Ugly Sonic from Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers now part of the mainline Sonic canon lore? Is my OC Ryan the Hedgehog 2? How about Super Mario Bros. Z? Is that canon? To answer those questions, no, no, and no. Well, actually, I don't really know. But I'm going to be honest, the Sonic the Hedgehog canon is a bit confusing, so I'm going to do whatever I can do in this video to pretty much straighten things out, and at least address the ways that it should be. Without a doubt, I do believe this tweet was just a joke. I don't think it should be taken that seriously. Like, I think there are some things in the Sonic the Hedgehog series that definitely are canon, but there are other things that just aren't. And even if it is a mainline official Sonic product, it still may not be in the mainline Sonic lore, or, I'm sorry, mainline canon. The first thing I want to do is get the obvious stuff out of the way. Movie Sonic is in no way, shape, or form in the actual mainline canon for this series. Movie Sonic and modern Sonic are two separate Sonics. That's just fact. We all know this. And I think the same can be said for classic Sonic as well, after the timeline split in Sonic Generations, which makes both of these two characters different in their own right. However, I would argue that considering classic Sonic and modern Sonic are still part of the same universe, I would say, then they should still be considered as part of game Sonic lore. No matter what happens to classic Sonic, if they're...
Wait, classic Sonic and modern Sonic are in the same universe? Then why is this nigga classic Sonic? What the fuck? And would he just be Sonic?
I swear.
I thought this nigga was like in his own universe, so that was like the classic universe. Like, nah, this nigga said, I'm gonna pull up on modern Sonic. They both just Sonic then. At that point.
There's a Sonic Mania 2 or whatever, it would still be considered canon to this mainline lore, if that makes sense. And obviously, in that regard, everything that happens to movie Sonic in the past and going forward with the future movies, obviously has no impact on the series directly in terms of what happens next with the characters, the story. These stories are not connected by any stretch of the imagination, only in utilizing the same characters and probably some of the same backstories. That's it. Now, we can...
Man, look at what social media can do. Great things sometimes, bro.
Bring bullying back.
Bring bullying back is crazy. These niggas really hold them into making this nigga look different, bro. And it worked.
Thank God.
Thank fucking God. Cause that realistic, whatever the fuck they was trying to do version.
It was not it.
Ugh.
They had that nigga fucked up all types of ways.
Ugh. He was about to look nasty.
All types of ways. Niggas' eyes wasn't done right. Fucking, I don't know what they were doing with his hair in the back. Yeah. That shit was on the scare kids.
That nigga looked like he was about to say, "My precious."
Whoever did that, the Mario fan, whoever made that style, because they was hating.
Oh God. They can't let this movie be good. I gotta make it flop. Who the fuck edited this? This ain't the trailer we had.
And say that Movie Sonic inspires, the game series, like Sonic now having electricity as some sort of effect in Sonic Frontiers, definitely being an inspiration from the movie, but I don't think that would mean that Movie Sonic and Game Sonic, or the two of them, are related, other than just having the same name and abilities as well. Now, I do want to say this, that does not mean that one is better than the other. I'm not making a video talking about, why the game should be the peak part of Sonic. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that there's two distinct canons taking place here when it's Game Sonic and Movie Sonic. Now, moving forward, we gotta talk about more of the harder stuff, like Sonic Prime, for example. I feel like this one is definitely a bit harder to talk about, considering it's not really marketed itself as being a different Sonic from a different universe, but we kind of have to look at some of the core details from Sonic Prime and see what we can really collaborate together with the games and see what fits and what doesn't. Now, there's two really big things about Sonic Prime that I feel like separates itself from the games. Like, for example, Sonic Prime Sonic, he calls Green Hill his home, as if to imply he lives there. But Game Sonic has never really made that distinction. He's never actually said, "Oh, I live here." I mean, he's called Green Hill his neighborhood once, I believe, in Sonic Forces, but other than that, it's not ever been mentioned. He just keeps going there for some reason, because Sonic loves adventuring. Now, that said, we do see that Sonic actually has a house of some kind in Sonic and the Secret Rings at the beginning of the game. Now, we have no idea where that is, we just know that he has one. Another important piece of information that I really do believe is imperative to include is where Tails lives. Now, this has actually been confirmed in several different locations in the mainline canon itself, whether it's be in Emerald Town or the Mystic Ruins and, his lab, but I feel like Emerald Town is probably the most solid piece of evidence we have, because in the game...
Hey, if this nigga Tails got a house and Sonic don't got a house, he's shitting on that nigga. Damn, that's tough. Why the fuck you need a house when all y'all just running around doing missions? What the fuck? He trying to shit on everybody, really. He does a little slight flex.
Tails said, "I got a real name. My nigga name is Miles, nigga. They just call me Tails because I got 2 Tails. Miles Powers, nigga."
That's what his name is?
Mm-hmm.
Hell fucking no. Miles Powers. This nigga name just Sonic. I'm Miles Powers.
I swear, bro, I don't think Sonic. I think it's literally just Sonic, bro. Knuckles is just Knuckles. Everybody, that nigga Miles that nigga Tails is the only one with like a full name.
That nigga got a real life.
There is a location actually referred to as Tails' house. It's not a workshop, it's not a lab, it's where he actually lives. Now, you see, this is also pretty hard to talk about too, because in earlier Sonic games like Sonic Adventure, Sonic and Tails would often say to each other, "Long time no see," or to be more precise, Sonic would say that to Tails as if to imply he hasn't seen him in a while. So maybe Sonic and Tails don't live in the same areas, but they just always hang out. I mean, anything is possible, but I do think that Tails' house could also be a pretty good indicator to where Sonic might live. But even then, since the games have never exactly expressed a single location where Sonic might live, and even if it was a house that he was living in Sonic and the Secret Rings, it's kind of hard to pinpoint.
This nigga having his own little crib to sleep in, though, just on the loading screen. Like, damn.
I swear, bro.
They can't get you a house. You just only get the loading screen to sleep. That's tough.
And they don't know where that motherfucker located at. Tails got 2 different distinct places where that nigga house can be located.
Oh, good. Named.
Name.
Actually got a street and an address.
Emerald Town in the distant ruins.
This nigga just sleeping on low screens, nigga.
Load screen.
Let me get my nap in real quick. Oh, shit. How you just pull the couch out your ass?
An exact location or a location at all. So maybe Sonic is like a nomad or something. That said, with that information, we already can conclude that Sonic Prime has a slight inaccuracy. But even if that logic doesn't really fit as well as one might hope, we can still look at Sonic's characterization in this show and see that not everything is lining up here. Whether it be the designs of some of the characters.
Would you say the original of something comes from the motherfucker like that made the first thing that came out? Like that's the most canon, and whatever adapts from that is the most canon for whatever generation? Or do you think?
I think it should be.
Okay.
Because how do I make something and then y'all change it? Like that just hold me.
So like,
unless I sold it to y'all.
because basically what I'm saying is like Sonic, I think started off as a game, right?
I think Sonic is a game first.
So yeah, if Sonic started off as a game, so like, can anything from the cartoons actually be canon? Or would you have to learn all your lore from the games?
You have to learn all your lore from the game. If the game don't have like a legit like lore, because Sonic didn't really have like when it first came out, wasn't like a story. Like you gotta just kind of come up with this shit kind of on your own, in my opinion. Like thinking the game, you just seen this nigga going after Dr. Robotnik.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if they did have some type of lore content that dropped out in like the, cause back in the day they used to do that shit all the time. It would be like in a little game and book or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Then you follow it from that. That's what I think. But if not, then you talk to the person that created the game and ask them, hey, what's the lore in this? I want to make a TV show about it. I think you should do that, not just. You can come up with your own shit, but I don't think that should be the actual canon. I don't think you just hold a nigga and be like, this is what it is.
Oh, God.
Like,
no, yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
it's crazy.
In this series, or even just their characterization to their entirety, I think it's made pretty clear that Prime isn't exactly what I would call mainline Sonic canon. I feel like, much like the movie, it kind of has its own continuity. That said, I feel like it's possible that the events of previous Sonic games have happened in Sonic Prime. I feel like you could say that some of the events of these games have taken place before the events of this TV show, but still the TV show separates itself as being its own thing. So maybe these characters went through the exact same stuff as the game characters did, but in their own way, if that makes sense. Like, for example, when Sonic sees the pirate Knuckles in Sonic Prime, he has this little flashback of what it was like when he first met Knuckles, pretty much, and it's kind of similar to how the games did it, and I think that kind of in its own way pretty much makes it clear that Sonic Prime does indeed reference other Sonic material from the games and utilizes that and creates its own little universe in itself. With that being said, I've already ruled out that Sonic Prime is not part of the mainline canon, the Sonic movies are not part of the mainline canon, and I also don't believe that
That's what I was thinking. Like, damn, did he really have a flashback to the 2D universe? That's funny.
That'd be hilarious. That better be gold.
That's good.
Comics aren't part of the mainline.
Now
I find this particularly harder to disprove than any other Sonic media, considering that the comics actually stay closest to the games as possible. And I feel like there really is no irrefutable fact to say otherwise, that they're not part of the canon. But either way, I'm going to try to do my best at disproving this right now. Now, I think one of my biggest arguments, if not my only argument, that fits to why the comics aren't part of the mainline canon is that there's no adequate time placing for any of the events. Now, for example, if the comics take place right after the events of Sonic Forces, then where do games like Sonic Frontiers and Team Sonic Racing, since that is in fact canon by the way, where do these games fall into play? Also, it's worth mentioning that in Team Sonic Racing, since again, this game is canon, Zavok is supposed to be the leader of, it seems to be a disbanded group known as the Deadly Six, meaning that they're not really around anymore. They don't really function as a group anymore. But in the IDW comics, it appears that's not the case, as this group is still alive and thriving, or I guess I use the term thriving loosely. That said, that's really my only argument. Then there is a perfect
Oh God, why do everything be like that? Like, did you know Magic School Bus was like that?
Them niggas was just acting.
Yeah. They was all on the TV show.
I'm fucking weak.
Crazy.
What you mean?
Magic School Bus. On Magic School Bus, they was all on the TV show. Like, they knew they was on the TV show. They was part of a cast type shit.
Like, they didn't have their own different name. They might have the name, but they was acting. Like, they'll do that with like, I seen something like Naruto did that.
Mm-hmm.
They would be like, they was having them record something, and then they asked Hinata, why you say Naruto's name like that when it's outside of recording?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so it's funny.
No, yeah, but they definitely be on that though.
But some places, some shit really like be like that. Like, that's why I said Sonic. 'Cause I, like Mario, then there might be like that. Like, why is Bowser racing with y'all? For fun.
Oh, good. The fuck all the bullshit, nigga.
Like the ops pulled up for the race.
I really ain't the op, nigga. We had barbecues every Sunday at my house.
Like,
Peach fuck with me.
The only time Bowser stay an op is Mario Party, because you can't play.
Yeah.
Mario's not really an op. Waluigi's not really an op.
God, I'm trying to tell you, they all be having dinner together every Sunday.
Counterpoint to that in saying that Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Frontiers and all the other Sonic games that released, after Forces take place after the events of the comics when their run is finished. And that argument still really does work. I don't think there's any way to refute that, but there's also still no way to refute my point. So
Sonic
I think it's kind of
fun.
pick and choose which way you want to believe in terms of thinking the comics are canon or not. However, in terms of the way I think, I don't believe the comics to their entirety are canon. I do think the characters in those comics are canon though. Like I talked about Tangle and Whisper. I think these characters are still actually part of the mainline Sonic canon, as Tangle was mentioned in Sonic Frontiers. And you're probably wondering, how can that be possible if the comics aren't canon, like I said before? Now, I think it's possible because those are different versions of those characters. I think the designs will probably still be the same if they're ever utilized in a future Sonic game, but I think that the way they navigate the world and the way that they interact with the characters and perhaps even their backstories themselves will be slightly altered, because I think they're going to realize that not everyone reads these comics. And if I was someone who didn't read them and I saw Tangle show up in a game, I'd be like, who the heck is this? Never even seen this character. And I could have been following the games from the very beginning and still be very confused. So I feel like in that regard, these characters are probably still going to get used in the future, but maybe not to the same way they are used in the comics. But just to reiterate, it is still entirely possible that the events of the comics take place before games like Team Sonic Racing and Sonic Frontiers. It's also worth noting that the Eggnet from the IDW comics was referenced in the Sonic Frontiers game in the Eggman launch, so that also provides a bit more evidence as to why the IDW comics could possibly be canon, but maybe taking place before the events of these games. And now I think it's time we talk about Sonic Boom, which I think is yet another obvious one, at least a little bit. You see, Sonic Boom is not part of the mainline canon, but I think it's going to function in a way I think the IDW comics are going to function too, where the characters in those series still might be canon. Like, for example, Styx was mentioned in Sonic Frontiers, and I think that automatically makes her a now mainline Sonic character. That said, this really makes things interesting because I feel like Styx has only been in one actual modern Sonic character game, and that's not even like, part of the mainline games. This was a spin-off game with Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games, and with that in mind, is Styx going to have that exact same design she had in Boom and personality as well? Because if she does, then I think we got a win here. But either way, this is interesting. But speaking of the events of other Sonic games, like spin-off games and even mainline games, I want to talk about Sonic 06 real quick, because I think there's a bit of confusion that I feel like should be addressed in some form. The events of Sonic 06 did not happen, but they technically also did, because only characters like Sonic and I believe Elise can remember them. This can be said because in Team Sonic...
What happened?
Oh, he just says the events in Sonic 06 didn't happen and it did.
Based on the Japanese localization, Sonic says, "You've come all the way from the future, so let's take a chance to enjoy a race." Silver says, "You're right, there's no point in getting concerned now." To which Sonic replies, "What happened to your energy when we first met? Weren't you all like, 'I will destroy you,' which is literally an exact line from Silver in Sonic 06, and Silver goes, "I do not recall saying anything like that." And then Sonic goes, "Well, the race is about to start, let's rock." And that's the end of their interaction. Now, the only reason I believe Elise remembers the events is because she was the one that was looking in the direction of Sonic towards the end of Sonic 06, and it kind of showed that, oh, maybe she remembered.
I just thought about something. Would you play like Mario? Like, if they made a Mario Universe game that was closer to Kingdom Hearts type, like where Mario is really like blood assassin type shit, but he still do Mario shit.
Yeah, they do good like how they did Kingdom Hearts. Because the way they depict Mickey on there as the king, they did that nigga justice. That nigga Mickey look like badass. Gonna be a king. I just think that maybe the story's all over the place, but the execution of Disney mixed with Final Fantasy was off the wall, but it worked. So I would like to see Mario get mixed with some other franchise that's like off the wall.
What would you want to see?
I'm trying to think. Yeah,
Like, I was thinking maybe like a G.I. Joe, but then that just ends up being like a shooter almost.
Yeah, I need some fantasy. It has to be fantasy only because like you would never think who ever thought Donald as a mage or which I guess in the Mickey's actually matter of fact Donald is really a mage like in the Disney lore, so that was really smart, and I guess Goofy is a knight, so the way they mixed it in with that was hard. So we had to figure out how Luigi and Mario, they're plumbers, we had to mix in their actual lore for it to make it make sense.
That's what I was saying. Maybe G.I. Joe or something, because like they're like saviors, low key. Like they always trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? Somebody's always in danger with them and shit like that. So
shooting part of that stuff.
But yeah, like I don't know.
But G.I. Joe, I mean, I guess they would have to be some type of special ops that don't shoot, because G.I. Joe, everybody.
They world is not as expensive either, though. It's like just regular world. That's what I'm saying.
You need something big, vast. But then
I wouldn't mind seeing them being in like Star Wars, like a crossover between.
That would be hard.
Had them niggas as Jedis. Like I can see Peach as a Jedi or a Sith. Me too.
Oh yeah, you just put people different. I mean, most of the good guys would be, and then Wario, Luigi, Bowser, all them niggas be Sith. Bounty Hunter. That would be hard as hell.
Good.
Star Wars mixed with without a few little games and shit, and had all the world mixed like how they did Kingdom. I mean, even though Final Fantasy games were different, you can still make your own Star Wars and Mario world.
But that's what I was saying. Like, don't bring in like Darth Vader, but have like your version of Darth Vader. Like everything could be like its own world. The only characters that's brought over is Mario and them.
Oh, you wouldn't want them to have their own make it up.
Yeah, because like I think that'll make it more expensive. Like you can do a lot more if it's just bringing over the new Mario characters and using like the lore of
Star Wars.
Yeah, because that's how they got successful with Kingdom Hearts.
All the what's name for the most part. I think they got maybe it's a few made up characters in Final Fantasy, but. And I mean, it's like the main characters, of course, Sora, Riku, and them are made up characters, but they got real Final Fantasy, a lot of real Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy. They're just from the different games. Like Cloud is in Final Fantasy 7, and then Squall, I think is his name. They're two main characters from different games, but they have each other. Sephiroth, he's a bad guy in there. Sephiroth, long ass sword. He's in there. They got a few people, so but I mean that would be more expensive. I ain't gonna lie though, I would like them to bring the characters in and then just make up
new characters for the
have
story.
New characters too, but make just a whole new story, kind of like it can have some, you know, their personality, but it's a whole just new story because they brought these new characters and used different characters from different movies, so we get like the best characters from each.
No, I see where you're going with it.
So, but it's a whole new story. It can kind of make sense with who they know each other with, but shit, Anakin might be a good guy this time.
Type shit.
And Darth Vader is. Don't bring Darth Vader if you're gonna have Anakin. You can't. I'll say that you can't bring two different versions of each other into the game.
I know what you're saying, though.
Like two.
There might not end up being a Darth Vader because Anakin ends up staying good.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And then, but I don't know what they did with Sonic 06. How they try to bring this one. And they kissed, and I don't know what.
She kissed
She kissed
the
Sonic.
fucking hedgehog?
She kissed him like he was and Sonic had then died. Like kissed him, she has some power and bring him back. But then it did show them like kind of not a romantic like out there, but you could kind of tension, I guess, or some shit was crazy.
Hell nah, this nigga Sonic was getting some cheeks.
I tried to play, I never beat the game. The game was so fucking buggy, it was ass.
Was this on GameCube?
Now on 360, PlayStation 3. It was right when they both dropped.
Okay.
You know, meeting Sonic and the adventure that just happened, but there's no 100%, you know, conclusion there. Also, I should have definitely explained this sooner, but TSR is only canon because it was referenced in Sonic Frontiers as it was in one of the Eggman logs, so yeah. So if this spin-off game is canon, what about some of the other spin-off games like Sonic Riders? And those are canon as well, as Jet the Hawk was mentioned in Sonic Frontiers.
Oh, God,
I'm telling you, Sonic Frontiers ties a lot of this stuff together. Pretty much if you were mentioned in Sonic Frontiers, then you're just basically canon. That said, it seems like a lot of, if not basically all of the Sonic games are canon, and I'd even say spin-offs as well, like Mario and Sonic 11 games. Unless noted otherwise, then yeah, I would just assume it's canon. That said, I don't know about its placement in anything, but still, it could be considered canon. Moving on though, we can talk about like the Tails tubes and the Twitter takeovers and all that other stuff. Now, Tails tubes, I believe, are 100% canon. These kind of help make sense of the nonsense and really provide that little piece of extra lore information for fans who actually want to hear it and make sense of Sonic's world. But when you go to stuff like the Twitter takeovers, I feel like that's just purely for fun. That's not meant to provide you any lore substance or any real backing to the stories themselves. It's literally just for fun. But I also want to talk about the animations that they released for Sonic the Hedgehog, like, you know, the Chow in Space stuff, and also like Sonic Mania Adventures and Sonic Colors Rise of Wiz, the TSR animations, all that stuff. I feel like that is actually all canon too. I feel like that all takes place within the same game continuity. It's just a bit of extra information. Now, Chow in Space might not be like directly correlating to a specific game, but I still feel like it falls in the category of like, this is happening in Sonic's world, or this happened in Sonic's world. I feel like that just about covers everything I really wanted to say in this video in regards to what is canon in the Sonic the Hedgehog series and what should be canon and everything like that. But now I want to hear from you guys in the comment section down below. What do you think the canon should be in the Sonic the Hedgehog series? What is the mainline canon? What is the regular Sonic lore? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. And also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on this video, as it would really help me out. That said, thank you all again so much for watching. This is Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, yo.
With Dr. Eggman's granddad.
Because in the earlier games, he go by Dr. Robotnik. And I mean, that's Dr. Eggman's last name too. But if you play Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and get to like, you know, you beat the hero side and the villain side, they give you the middle side where they kind of work together against the ultimate weapon. And the nigga granddad is in there talking about, because he's the one that created Shadow, and the nigga's the one that created the ultimate weapon, which they thought it was Shadow, but it was really that big old fucking monster that was in fucking and shit. You see that niggas talking about it, that nigga Dr. is like, oh, my grandfather, this and that. He looks like the fucking old nigga in the older games, in the older Sonic game, and they call him by Dr. Robotnik. Now, I don't know if that's canon in there or not, but I was just like, damn, this nigga's old as hell. He had to be bumping with this nigga. Maybe they just...
You remember both.
Maybe he just... I think before they called him Eggman, they was calling him Dr. Robotnik.
It's the same dude.
It's just, the Sonic didn't act like he knew that nigga. I always used to think that, like, damn, this nigga was bumping his granddad when I was out.
That'd definitely be a great way to play it off.
Oh, that nigga must have got a concussion or something.
I said, nah, we never changed the layout or changed how he looked, nigga. It's a whole different person. You all good. We wrapping up here.
I love y'all niggas. Tell me how that motherfucker still dancing. I cut the lights off in the club, went panic on my wrist. Every time I'm in the city, just call me Money Mitch.
Push the goddamn button! June time!
Push the goddamn button! Push the goddamn button!